That family member who drains every conversation, the coworker who takes credit for your ideas, the friend who only calls when they need something. If you've ever felt like a terrible Christian because you just can't seem to love certain people, you're definitely not alone. But what if I told you that God never expected you to love difficult people the way you've been trying? What if His advice is actually much wiser and more freeing than you ever imagined? By the end of this, you'll discover that loving difficult people isn't about becoming a doormat. It's about becoming wise, boundaried, and divinely empowered. I used to think being a good Christian meant saying yes to everyone, absorbing every toxic comment with a smile, and somehow mustering up warm, fuzzy feelings for people who hurt me repeatedly. I had this one relationship, someone who would call me crying about their problems. But the moment I shared something I was struggling with, they'd change the subject or turn it back to themselves. I felt guilty every time I saw their name on my phone because my heart would sink instead of leap with joy. I thought something was wrong with me spiritually. But then I discovered something that changed everything. Jesus Himself didn't treat every person the same way. He had boundaries. He walked away from some conversations. He was wise about who He trusted with what parts of His heart. That's when I realized I'd been trying to love people with my own strength instead of His wisdom. Here's the lie so many of us believe. If I'm really following Jesus, I should be able to love everyone equally and endlessly, no matter how they treat me. But this thinking turns us into emotional victims rather than wise disciples. Think of it like this. Love isn't a fire hydrant that just gushes the same way toward everyone. Love is more like a master gardener who knows exactly what each plant needs. Some flowers need full sun and daily watering. Others thrive with less attention and careful boundaries. A good gardener doesn't pour the same amount of water on a cactus as they do on a rose. They love each plant according to its nature and needs. God's love operates the same way. It's wise, intentional, and sometimes it looks like healthy distance. Jesus gives us the perfect blueprint in Matthew 10 verse 16 when He says, "Be as wise as serpents and as innocent as doves." This isn't just nice poetry, it's revolutionary relationship advice. Notice He doesn't say, "Be as naive as sheep," or "Let everyone walk all over you like doormats." He says, "Be wise." Serpents are incredibly discerning about danger. They know when to stay and when to move away for their own protection. But they do it without malice, like doves, with pure hearts and no revenge. Jesus is teaching us that love without wisdom isn't actually love at all. It's enabling. When we keep pouring ourselves out for people who consistently drain us, disrespect us, or manipulate us, we're not loving them well. We're actually preventing them from experiencing the natural consequences that might help them grow. God Himself sets boundaries. He loves us completely, but He doesn't override our free will or absorb our poor choices without consequence. If God has boundaries, how much more do we need them? The most loving thing you can do for a difficult person is to love them the way Jesus did, with wisdom, truth, and healthy limits that protect both your heart and theirs. So how do we actually do this? Let me give you some practical steps that are rooted in how Jesus loved. First, start with prayer, but make it specific. Don't just pray, "Help me love them." Pray, "God, show me how you see this person and what healthy love looks like in this situation." Sometimes God will show you they're hurting and need compassion. Other times, He'll show you they're manipulating and need boundaries. Both are acts of love. Second, love them like Jesus loved the Pharisees. Jesus didn't avoid the Pharisees or pretend they weren't problematic. He spoke truth to them, set clear boundaries, and didn't absorb their hostility. He loved them enough to be honest, even when it wasn't comfortable. Third, practice strategic kindness. This means you can be kind without being constantly available. You can wish someone well without being their emotional dumping ground. You can pray for someone's growth without being the person who always fixes their problems. Fourth, remember the airplane oxygen mask principle. You can't help others breathe if you're suffocating. Protecting your own emotional and spiritual health isn't selfish. It's essential for sustainable love. Fifth, focus on your own character, not their change. Ask yourself, how can I respond in a way that reflects Jesus? Rather than, how can I make them treat me better? This keeps you free and them accountable to God, not you. Father, I come to you right now on behalf of everyone listening who is exhausted from trying to love people who drain them, manipulate them, or hurt them repeatedly. Lord, you know the faces they're picturing right now. You know the conversations that replay in their minds and the guilt they carry for not feeling loving toward certain people. God, I pray you would lift this false burden from their shoulders right now. Show them that you never called them to be emotional punching bags or endless wells for people who don't appreciate the gift of their heart. Teach them to love like you love, with wisdom, with boundaries, with truth wrapped in grace. Give them the courage to say no when no is the most loving response. Give them the discernment to know when someone needs space to grow rather than another chance to take advantage of their kindness. Lord, heal the places in their hearts where manipulation has been disguised as need, where guilt has been disguised as godliness. Remind them that they are not responsible for other people's emotions, choices, or growth. They are responsible for stewarding their own heart well and loving others the way you love. Fill them with your strength to love difficult people, not with their own willpower, but with your supernatural wisdom and grace. Let them feel, even right now, that they are deeply loved by you and that protecting their heart is not only okay, it's essential. Amen. If this resonates with you, I want you to know you're not alone in this struggle. So many of us have been taught that love means endless accommodation, but Jesus shows us a better way. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's one difficult relationship where you need God's wisdom right now? And if you're ready to learn more about loving people the way Jesus did, make sure to subscribe and check out our next video, where we'll dive even deeper into setting healthy boundaries that actually help people grow. Remember, your struggle to love difficult people isn't evidence that you're failing as a Christian. It's evidence that you're ready to love like Christ, with both tenderness and truth. God is not asking you to be a doormat. He's inviting you to be wise, boundaried, and divinely empowered to love in ways that actually transform both you and the people around you.